Yesterday, President Trump announced that America has achieved a form of regime change in Iran.
Hold on, let me see if this bitch sped up, bro. This nigga's talking fast as hell.
No, I'm telling you, that's how he talks. That's how he talks.
What the fuck,
Yeah,
bro?
that's regular Ben Shapiro for you, man. He speaks really. He's one of them speedy talkers.
That's crazy.
After all, we have killed all of their leaders. Here's the president.
We killed all their leadership, and then they met to choose new leaders, and we killed all of them. And now we have a new group, and we can easily do that. But
good cut.
let's see
I'm
how
not
they
gonna lie,
do
that was a good cut.
We have
Whoever the
really
editor is, props to him.
regime change. You know, this is a change in the regime because the leaders are all very
Now, I do wanna
different
say
than the
this.
ones that
Ben
we started
Shapiro
off with.
no longer supports Trump like he used to. and
Okay.
everything. Ben Shapiro has actually changed a lot of his stances from previous years and everything. I think he has matured a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy that you say that because I did another video of his. A lot of people he was saying like he was a racist and he was saying like crazy stuff.
The thing is though, now that I really understand how things work and everything, let's be real. They get paid to kind of push a lot of these narratives and everything. I remember when Candace Owens got let go from Fox News and everything, right? And then she broke it down on her social media or something like that somewhere. At some point in time, Candace Owens pretty much said, hey, look, this is what's really been going on. You know, they pay us to push narratives. If we don't push the narratives hard enough, the executives come down on us and start to threaten our livelihoods and stuff, whatever. I'm pretty sure with Ben Shapiro being her co-worker, the same thing applied.
He worked at Fox too?
Yeah, he did. I don't know if he still does, but I know he did. Now, he does have the Daily Wire and everything, for sure. That's his own thing. But he also, him and Candace Owens don't see eye to eye right now. He kind of, they kind of went their separate ways.
That's crazy, man.
That created all those problems. So this was, I think we can say, Jason, this is regime change, right?
Well, I mean, to a certain extent, that is right. Not only that, President Trump has already announced that the war has effectively been won.
You know, I don't like to say this. We've won this. This war has been won. The only one that likes to keep it going is the fake news. I mean, the New York Times, you read the New York Times, it's like we're not winning a war where they have no Navy and they have no Air Force and they have no nothing. And we literally have planes flying over Tehran and other parts of their country. They can't do a thing about it. For instance, if I want to take down that power plant, that very big...
He said planes flying over Iran and other parts of that country. Isn't Iran the country?
You're crazy.
I mean, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, that is the country.
No. Yeah.
That's the country, bro. I don't give a goddamn what he talking about. I know what he mean. He talking about in that continent.
Yeah.
That's the fucking country, though.
I mean, I try to kind of give him like a little wiggle room, but it's like nothing was coming up. It's like, I'm sorry. You know what? I don't understand Trump supporters. I don't understand Trump supporters, like the hardcore ones, the ones that stand behind every single thing that he says, because that's crazy to me, because he said a lot of things that are just undefendable,
That shit, wow.
and they'll find ways to try to defend it,
parts of their country, they can't do a thing about it. For instance, if I want to take down that power plant, that very big, powerful power plant, they can't do a thing about it. It's like, take me. That's all they can do.
Now, from an American perspective, he's right. The war has been won on the military level. Iran has done minimal damage by any sort of standard to American forces and interests. Meanwhile, Iran itself has been pummeled to dust. Their ballistic missile program has basically been destroyed. Their nuclear facilities have been pounded again. Their drone program has been blown up. Basically, the only thing Iran can do at this point is harass people. They can harass their neighbors with occasional missile and drone strikes. They can bother some shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. What would victory look like for the United States? Well, there are two types of victory here, political victory and actual victory. We may already have an actual victory. So, for example, let's say that Iran ends up falling in the next couple of years. That victory will belong to President Trump because we will have weakened all of the foundations upon which the Iranian regime stands, in the same way that the Soviet Union falling belonged to President Reagan. Now, it won't be a political victory because you need an exclamation point for a political victory. Some way to say, we didn't just win, Iran also lost. So, where is Iran right now? Did they totally lose? Well, on the one hand, we can make the argument that them winning would just be them surviving. That survival amounts to not losing. Israel and America's other regional allies would have to continue to exercise overwatch of the regime to ensure they don't renew their missile and drone and nuclear programs. But we do have to ask, is not losing really victory for Iran? It might be for the moment, but not for long, because Iran would remain isolated, throttled, devoid of basic resources. Remember, before this war, there were already millions of people in the streets protesting the regime. The rial was running at 0.00001 to a dollar, and they had so little water that they were moving millions.
I got a friend who from Iran or whatever. He was telling me about the currency there, how it used to be like, I don't know, I don't remember, like a dollar was like maybe 79 cents.
Okay.
Like the equivalent to there. Now it's like negative, like so bad.
Damn.
Like $1 is like damn near 14,000.
That's crazy.
Something stupid like that.
You know what's crazy? I actually know someone who moved from Iran to the United States and everything, right?
You do too. That's crazy.
Like freshly moved.
Oh,
and
for real?
Yeah, they were pretty much telling me that right now in their country they had a whole internet blackout and everything, right? A blackout. They didn't have internet for months. They didn't have no type of internet service, so there's nothing for them and everything. So that was pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, he was telling me, dude, I know, he left in the early 70s or 80s or something. Mm-hmm. Right when like them extremists, whatever, they started that joint. He said he saw them shoot people in the middle of the road.
He's probably talking about what is it? Desert Storm?
No, he said no, the movement of God or something like that.
Movement of God.
That or something like that. That's
you know what? Desert Storm was in the 90s, I believe.
Now it was like the act of God or the something of God. That's what they believed in. It was the Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find that job. But anyways, he said he saw them like just killing people in the road. They ran into they ran into like this kitchen, like a restaurant. And the restaurant owner was like, "Why are y'all in here? Like, get out, get out, get out." He was like, we can't. They killing us. They killing people.
Wow.
And yes, and he said like right after that, like after everything calmed down, he went outside and seen people just like dead in the street.
Scary.
They were just picking up the body, just throwing them in the truck. He said that he walked so many miles to Turkey, I believe,
mm-hmm.
and then he crossed over the border there, and then like I don't know, caught a ride or something, and then end up getting to America somehow. I don't know,
Shoot.
but he walked to Turkey.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I have not disagreed. I've not agreed with Ben Shapiro on a lot of his stances in the past and everything. But one thing I do agree with is his stance on war. I really agree with him on that. You know, when the whole Gaza Strip thing was happening and everything, Israel and Palestine, he was one of the few who spoke out against it. He called it genocide. He said, "Yo, this is not right. What we're doing is not right." Mm-hmm. And I agree with Ben on that. I will say that. Let's go ahead and see what else happens.
Yeah, for sure.
Because this is getting a little interesting.
Yeah.
Now, me personally, I was a political science major. I really followed politics for a very long time. But I have not been following this war in Iran. So let's find out what's going on.
Millions of people out of Tehran. They were actually evacuating their own capital. Can this regime continue to limp along on that basis for many more years? Well, now the question becomes whether or not President Trump can force the Iranians into a deal that achieves political victory, like a good end state that he can go home and brag about. Despite members of the media and Democratic politicians saying they don't actually believe that President Trump has been talking to Iran, it has now been confirmed there are in fact negotiations between the two countries indirectly. And President Trump is talking as though concessions are being made by Iran. Here's President Trump yesterday.
They're going to make a deal. They did something yesterday that was amazing, actually. They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. And it was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. And I'm not going to tell you what that present is, but it was a very significant prize. And they gave it to us, and they said they were going to give it. So that meant one thing to me, we're dealing with the right people.
Is that nuclear related?
No, it wasn't nuclear related. It was oil and gas related. And it was a very nice thing they did. But what it showed me is that we're dealing with the right people.
What's
Okay,
not
so
funny is these
what
gas
kind of
prices.
concessions are they actually making? The devil remains in the details. So President Trump said yesterday that Iran has agreed it will never have a nuclear weapon. But if they get to retain a nuclear program that could easily be turned toward weapons development, that's not good enough. Will they retain enriched uranium? I mean, we'll have to find out. Now, President Trump has made clear that, in his view, they must never have a nuclear weapon.
They've agreed they will never have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that.
President Trump has apparently released a list of demands from the Iranians at this point. One, all existing nuclear capabilities will be dismantled, which I assume means all of their nuclear plants. A commitment that Iran will never strive to obtain nuclear weapons, which would have to be enforceable. No material will ever be enriched on Iranian soil. So again, that means no nuclear program at all. All enriched material will be handed over to the IAEA in a short-term timetable to be defined between the parties. Natanz, Isfahan, Fordo would be decommissioned and also destroyed. The IAEA would have full access to all information within Iran's borders. Iran would completely abandon its terror proxy network. Iran would stop financing and arming proxies in the region. The Strait of Hormuz would remain open, would be a free maritime zone. No one would block it. And as for the missile program, according, again, to the talking points put out by the administration, there would be a decision at a later period, but they would have to limit the quantity and the range. And future use of missiles would have to be for self-defense purposes only. In return for all of that, theoretically, Iran would have sanctions lifted. They would receive assistance in developing a civilian nuclear program in Bushehr. So basically, we'd build them low-level nuclear programs for energy. And the threat of snapback sanctions would be removed. Now, I have a question. Does that sound like Iran is ready to do any of that? I have some very
Charlie Kirk.
Why you say?
Because Charlie Kirk's stance on the war was definitely it shouldn't be happening and everything, right? Candace Owens' stance on the war was the same thing, whatever, right? She was like, "Hey, that shouldn't be happening." We're talking about Israel and Palestine, and they were called anti-Semitic.
Israel and Palestine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They were called anti-Semitic. I'm not sure if my memory serves me correctly with Ben Shapiro. And it's so funny because the face he's making right now on that screenshot right now is the exact same face I'm making because I'm squinting because I don't know about you right now. You don't know about me. So anyway, but I think, if I remember correctly, I do think Ben Shapiro was against the war with Israel and Palestine. If I'm correct, I don't remember. So y'all have the opportunity to help to respectfully correct me in the comments. Please do it respectfully, okay?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know this nigga like that.
very serious doubts. Now, at the same time, President Trump does not want to leave the rest of the region subject to the whims of the mullahs. Folks, there is one asset that you own that is probably take the value out of your home. Promo code Ben, or use the link below. President Trump's strongest support for continued action, actually at this point, is coming from the Saudis, according to the New York Times. Quote, in recent days, Mr. Trump has given more serious consideration to a military operation to seize Kharg Island, the hub of Iran's oil infrastructure. Such an operation with airborne army forces or an amphibious assault by Marines would be immensely dangerous, but Prince Mohammed has advocated ground operations in his conversations with Mr. Trump, according to people briefed by American officials. Now listen, I actually agree with Mohammed bin Salman's assessment here. If America were to grab control of Kharg Island, the actual capacity of Iran to survive even midterm drops dramatically. Now, here's President Trump speaking about MBS in Saudi.
No, we have a great relationship with Saudi Arabia. What do you hear with Saudi Arabia?
Just hearing that you've been talking and that he has been encouraging you to do certain things related to Iran. Can you share that?
He's a warrior. He does, yeah. He's a warrior. He's fighting with us, by the way. Saudi Arabia has been excellent.
So, what comes next? Well, the answer, as it has always been, is in the hands of the Iranian government. Remember, Iran could have at any time for 50 years, they could do it today, reintegrated into the world economy by ending its global ambitions, its support for terrorism, its nuclear program. They have not done that. Now, maybe they're willing to moderate now. I kind of doubt it. But there's still plenty of levers left for the United States to pull. President Trump has already shown high willingness to do just that. The Wall Street Journal is reporting as of yesterday, quote, the Pentagon is planning to deploy about 3,000 soldiers from the Army's elite 82nd Airborne Division to the Middle East to support operations against Iran, according to two U.S. officials, with a written order expected in coming hours. Officials cautioned a decision to put boots on the ground in Iran has not been made, but deploying the 82nd opens the door to President Trump for several strategic options. So, again, Special operations, limited in duration. This is not the kind of quagmire boots on the ground stuff people were talking about. We're not talking about 100,000 troops occupying Iran indefinitely. At most, you're talking about a ground operation to take away territory used to target the Strait of Hormuz, to take away Kharg Island. That's probably what we are talking about here. But yesterday,
all right.
How you feel about what he's saying?
Let's talk about this. I will say this. Ben Shapiro seems to have changed a lot since I was first introduced to him, back in like 2015, 2016-ish and all this other stuff. I see why a lot of people in your comment section said that they felt like he was a racist and everything because, again, like I said, back in the day, what's his name? Charleston White even said it. Charleston White came out and he said he took all those gigs and speaking out against the black community, saying everything that's wrong with the black community, whatever, right? Because he was getting paid crazy money to do it. He said all he had to do was stand on the stage or whatever and talk for 45 minutes. And they sent him like $8,000 and all this other stuff. He get a fat bag for it or whatever, right? Then when all the smoke cleared and all this other stuff, he made his money. A lot of his money and whatever. He guaranteed his family's generational wealth. He was like, all right, guess what? I played all of y'all, He was like, I was just doing it for the money. I don't really believe that, And so I'm thinking Ben Shapiro kind of falls in that same category because, again, he pushed really hard against the black community for a long time. He was saying 13% of the population accounts for over 90% of violent crime in the United States or whatever, right? And I mean, it was just on repeat. I've heard it at least well over 100 times. And the thing is, though, at that time, people were saying, it's just facts and all this other stuff, right? But at the same time, you're spreading a narrative. You're enabling the extremist, whatever, right? Everybody doesn't interpret the message the same way. I guess you might have possibly intended it to be interpreted and stuff. You got the people that's going to say some crazy stuff or whatever. People are evil because it's in their DNA. That's what a lot of people have gotten out of Ben Shapiro's messages in the past. But
you think it's in their DNA for real though?
Absolutely not.
I was about to say
no. It's a well-known fact that at this point, crime really is more directed, more correlated to
what you was talking
income level, poverty, and everything. That's a poverty thing. I'm not gonna lie to you. Because if you're in a more positive...
he was talking about... Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you were saying, like, evil was in his DNA. They were saying, like, people of poverty had, like...
No. A lot of people... I'm not saying that this is what he was saying, but a lot of people was pulling from what he was saying and saying that black people were naturally born evil.
I see what you're saying now.
And it was a part of their culture and everything, whatever, right? That's the message people got from Ben Shapiro in the past or whatever. But I'm not gonna lie, something tragic happened last year, around October.
Talking about Charlie Kirk?
Charlie Kirk, he passed away, rest in peace to him. But after that boy passed, I ain't heard Ben Shapiro talk that shit about black people. He ain't been talking that shit about black people, boy. Ben, you been real quiet, my dog. You been real quiet since my boy Charlie Kirk that got clapped. I ain't trying to be.
So what you trying to say? After Charlie got clapped,
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Boys was chilling after Charlie. They was like, you know what, bro? You know what? I'm not even gonna do this.
Chill out.
Hey, y'all can't pay me enough to do this, Man. And in Ben's defense, I don't believe he ever believed that people were just evil because of their race and everything.
That's outrageous. If anybody,
I don't believe that. I do think he was being paid to say things like that to spread a narrative and everything. And we all got livings to make and everything, right? If it wasn't him,
I don't know. I can't see myself trying to make a living
off
of.
You got to understand though. You got to look at it from this angle too, though. You got to look at it from the midpoint. Guess what? if he don't do it, somebody else gonna do it.
Yeah, okay,
Somebody
but
else
does
gonna take that money.
Does it make
No,
it okay?
it does not make it okay.
It'll make it okay.
It does not make it okay.
Because it's a million murderers out there, and I'm like, well, shit.
Yeah.
Somebody else was going to murder me.
And so for those watching, I'm here to tell you, me and Brandon, we both been around black people our whole entire lives, and we can tell you right now, most black people are not violent like that. We're really not, man. You know,
And a lot of people are some actors.
Yeah,
a
a lot of
for
actors,
defense.
a lot of media propaganda pushing that narrative. Most people in general really are just peaceful. They just want to be left alone. You know.
Fuck alone.
Yeah, that's the message. That's the message here tonight.
Nah, that's real. But how y'all feel about this? How y'all feel about how y'all feel about this war? How you feel about Trump? I'm not gonna lie, political science shit is just like way over my head. I don't understand half this shit.
It doesn't matter because I've seen people start political podcasts with no knowledge on politics and they blew up, bro. So you're doing great.
Nah, because I did a Ben video and people like, man, he hates us. Like, bro, I don't even know this character at all. But look, it matters not. Y'all let me know how y'all feel, man. This be man.
This your boy Trav.
Yeah.
We out.